Picture this: an Athenian counselor named Ledusa rises in a crowded assembly on the sun-scorched island of Salamis, his voice cutting through the thick air like a blade. He suggests, calmly, logically, that they listen to the Persian peace offer. No boos erupt, no arguments flare. Instead, the men surround him in a heartbeat, stones clutched in trembling fists, and they crush him right there on the debate hall floor, his screams drowned in the thud of rock on flesh. But the horror doesn't end. The women of Athens, drawn by the chaos, storm his home like furies unleashed. They drag his wife and children into the dusty street, their pleas ignored, and pelt them until blood soaks the earth, bodies twitching in the merciless light. This isn't a nightmare from some twisted tale. This is 479 BC. The Greeks aren't debating anymore. They're done with words. Trauma has twisted them into something primal, something hungry for blood. The air hangs heavy with despair, a choking fog over the refugees huddled on Salamis. The 300 Spartans at Thermopylae, slaughtered like sacrificial lambs, their bodies piled high in that narrow pass, a wall of flesh against the Persian tide. Athens, a smoldering corpse, temples cracked and blackened, homes reduced to ash under Xerxes' wrath. The people wander as ghosts, eyes hollow from hunger, hearts seared by loss. Mothers clutch children too weak to cry, while men whisper of forbidden vengeance, dreams of Persian throats slit in the night, a sensual release of pent-up rage that borders on ecstasy. It's a dark allure, this bloodlust, pulling them deeper into the abyss. No more pleas for mercy. The only language left is violence, raw and unyielding. Yet the threat lingers like a lover's shadow, seductive and deadly. King Xerxes has slinked back to his opulent palaces, but he leaves behind Mardonius, a man far more dangerous, a shark circling in the waters of Boeotia with 300,000 of the empire's finest killers. Not the bloated horde of conscripts from before. No, Mardonius has sharpened his blade. He sent the weak home, keeping only the elite. The immortals, those armored phantoms who broke the Spartan line at Thermopylae with spears that gleamed like forbidden promises. The Scythian horse archers from the endless steppes, men who ride like the wind, loosing arrows through armor slits at full gallop, their precision a tantalizing dance of death. He sits there, holding a knife to Greece's throat, his power a sensual dominance that makes the Greeks seethe with envy and hate. To prove his point, Mardonius burns Athens a second time. Flames lick the sky as walls crumble, temples profane in their destruction. The acrid smoke carries whispers of despair, a scorched earth caress that leaves nothing but ruins. The Athenians, refugees in their own land, reach their breaking point. Their envoys race to Sparta, not with pleas, but with threats, words laced with the erotic edge of betrayal. March now, they hiss, or our navy joins Persia. And when that happens, your mighty walls won't save you from the embrace of our ships crashing against your shores. It's a wake-up call that shivers through the Spartan halls, a forbidden alliance dangling like temptation itself. Sparta, that stoic fortress in the Peloponnese, has been dragging its feet, hiding behind the isthmus of Corinth, praying the storm passes. But this ignites them. The ephors, those shadowy overseers, issue a mobilization order that defies belief. In a single night, under a moon that watches like a jealous eye, they empty the city. 5,000 Spartiates, the elite of the elite, don their bronze armor, helmets crested with horsehair that sways like a lover's touch in the wind. But here's the raw power dynamic, the dark underbelly. For every Spartan warrior, 7 helots, slaves bound to the land, oppressed and simmering with resentment, are armed and forced to march. 35,000 conscripts, their chains invisible but ironclad, trudge alongside their masters, javelins in hand, eyes burning with a mix of fear and unspoken desire for freedom. Add 5,000 provincial troops, and a colossal column of 45,000 souls vanishes into the pre-dawn mist. The Athenian envoys wake to empty streets, fury rising like bile. They storm the Spartan leaders, demanding action, but the ephors merely glance at the rising sun, their smiles cold and commanding. "Stop shouting," they say. "The army is already at the border. The hunt has begun." The ground shakes as the Spartans march north, dust clouds billowing like forbidden incense, terror and anticipation mingling in the air. These are not men. They are a machine of war, forged in the Agoge's brutal rituals, bodies honed to perfection, desires suppressed into a singular focus, destruction. Meanwhile, Mardonius moves with the grace of a predator in heat. Scouts whisper of the Spartan advance, and he doesn't flinch. He smiles, his eyes alight with tactical lust. He knows the Greeks' weakness, their hoplites, that unbreakable wall of bronze shields and spears, turn like a lumbering beast. In the narrow streets of Athens, he'd be trapped, his mobility crushed. So he evacuates, but not before one final, intimate insult. He razes the city utterly, walls toppled, houses smashed, temples desecrated in a frenzy of fire and stone. Athens becomes a graveyard, bones of marble scattered underfoot, a haunting reminder that leaves the Greeks with nothing but ash to reclaim. It's psychological warfare at its most erotic, breaking hearts before blades even clash. Withdrawing north to Boeotia, near Thebes, Mardonius chooses his ground like a chess master in the throes of passion. He camps along the Asopus River on the flat plains of Plataea, open, inviting, deadly. Here, his cavalry can swirl like a lover's hands, flanking, teasing, peppering with arrows until the hoplite formation cracks. He erects a massive stockade, a square mile of wooden walls and towers, a fortress of war rising from the field. It's a trap, wrapped in temptation, daring the Greeks to step into the slaughter. The allied Greek army swells as city-states join, those not cowering under Persian gold. They crest the southern edge of the plain, gazing down from Mount Cithaeron's foothills. Below, an ocean of Persian tents shimmers, armor glinting, horses grazing by the river like sentinels. The commanders, led by the Spartan regent Pausanias, a man of iron will, his presence a commanding force that draws eyes and stirs unspoken longings, do the only wise thing. They stop. They cling to the rocky slopes where cavalry hooves slip and falter. No descent into the plain's embrace. Not yet. A staring contest begins, charged with tension that hums like electricity. Mardonius in the valley, Pausanias on the ridge. Days stretch, impatience building, a slow burn of desire unmet. The Greeks are safe from charges, but vulnerable in other ways. Water scarce, supplies thin. The air thickens with foreboding, the sun a relentless hammer. Hope flickers amid despair, resilience forged in the fire of invasion. Yet, beneath it all, a rage simmers, unquenched, promising a release that's both terrifying and intoxicating. As the chapter fades on this precipice, Pausanias stands silhouetted against the setting sun, his gaze locked on the enemy below. The wind carries whispers of what's to come, blood, betrayal, the sweet sting of vengeance. But for now, the Greeks hold, hearts pounding with a mix of fear and forbidden fire, the stage set for a clash that will echo through eternity. What happens when desperation meets dominance? Stay with us. The shadows deepen. The sun dips low over Mount Cithaeron, casting long shadows like fingers clawing at the earth. Pausanias stands firm on the ridge, his bronze armor gleaming with a cold allure, his eyes locked on the Persian camp below. The air is thick, charged with unspoken tension, a lover's quarrel where neither side blinks first. Days crawl by in this high-stakes game. Mardonius waits in the valley, his forces a glittering sea of danger, while the Greeks hug the rocky slopes. Here, the ground is rough and unforgiving, a natural shield against the Persian cavalry's thunderous charges. Hooves slip on stones, arrows lose their bite against the heights. It's smart, it's safe, but safety comes at a price. Water runs low, throats burn dry under the relentless Greek sun. Dread settles in like a slow poison. The men shift uneasily in their heavy gear, 60 pounds of bronze pressing down, sweat trickling like forbidden caresses along skin hardened by war. Hope flickers and whispers around campfires at night, tales of home and freedom keeping despair at bay. Yet resilience wears thin. These are not just soldiers. They are fathers, sons, lovers torn from warm beds, now facing an empire's wrath. Pausanias feels it, the weight of command, a sensual power that both thrills and torments him. He knows Mardonius grows restless down there, his impatience a dark seduction, urging the Greeks to make a move. Mardonius doesn't wait forever. He sends his cavalry commander, Mecistius, a giant among men, beloved by his troops, riding an Assyrian stallion with a bridle of pure gold that catches the light like a tempting jewel. Mecistius is no mere rider. He's a force, his presence commanding respect and stirring envy. He leads his squadron up the slopes, not for a full assault, but for harassment, a teasing dance of death. They circle like predators, hooting and jeering, calling the Spartans women for hiding in the hills. Arrows whistle through the air, finding gaps in shields, piercing flesh with a wet thud. The Greeks take hits, blood spilling on the rocks, screams echoing like shattered promises. Frustration builds, a simmering heat that twists in the gut. The Megarians, allies pinned down on the flank, feel it worst. They're exposed, arrows raining like cruel kisses, their lines cracking under the strain. They send a desperate runner to Pausanias. Send help, or we break and leave. The regent scans his commanders, his voice low and commanding. Who will volunteer for this suicide run, fighting cavalry on open ground where speed meets bronze? It's a forbidden thrill, this call to glory, laced with the erotic pull of defying death. 300 Athenians step forward, an echo of Thermopylae's doomed stand. They charge down, archers in tow, hearts pounding with a mix of fear and fierce desire to strike back. The skirmish erupts in chaos, dust swirling like a veil over forbidden acts. Arrows fly both ways, horses rearing, men clashing in a tangle of limbs and steel. Luck turns the tide. An Athenian shaft strikes Mecistius's horse in the flank. The beast bucks in agony, throwing its rider to the dirt. The Athenians swarm him like wolves on prey. But Mecistius is no easy kill. Under his purple tunic hides scale armor, a Persian marvel, impenetrable, gleaming like a lover's secret skin. Swords bounce off, sparks flying. He fights back, a gold-clad titan, his strength a sensual dominance that commands awe even in defeat, until one soldier spots the weakness. He rams his spear through the helmet's eye slit. The giant crumples, blood pooling dark and final. The death sends shockwaves through the Persian ranks. Cavalry charges wildly to reclaim the body, turning the fight into a brutal brawl over dust and honor. But the Greeks hold, shields locked, spears thrusting. They hoist Mecistius's corpse onto a cart, parading it through their lines, a trophy that ignites morale like wildfire. Cheers rise, fists pumping, the air alive with triumph's sweet release. For a moment, despair lifts, hope surges, resilience shining through the grime. These men, once victims, taste the forbidden fruit of victory. Pausanias watches, his face stoic, but inside, a spark of pride burns hot. Yet the high fades fast, evaporating like dew under August's hammer. The sun beats down without mercy, turning armor into ovens, bodies into weary shells. Dehydration creeps in, lips cracking, tongues swelling. A silent killer, more deadly than any arrow. Pausanias eyes his army, over 100,000 strong now, swollen with allies, but far from reliable water. Emboldened by the skirmish, he orders a bold shift. The entire line shuffles down from the foothills toward the Asopus River, settling near the Gargaphia spring, a vital lifeline bubbling clear and cool. It seems wise, a chance to quench thirst, to regroup. But it's a gamble, extending their neck into the lion's jaws. Mardonius watches from below, his smile sharp as a blade. He sees the overreach, the vulnerability. Why charge with infantry when he can strangle them slow? He snaps orders, unleashing his cavalry once more. But this time, it's not about killing men. It's about breaking wills. Horsemen circle wide, striking the mountain passes behind the Greek lines. They intercept a massive supply convoy, 500 wagons groaning with bread from the Peloponnese. Hooves pound, swords flash. Oxen bellow as they're slaughtered. Drivers cut down in sprays of blood. The wagons burn, smoke rising like a dark omen. Suddenly, the battle isn't blades clashing. It's starvation's grip tightening. 8 long days drag on. The Greeks huddle, terrified to advance onto the open plain, where cavalry rules. Retreating now would scream cowardice, fracturing the fragile alliance, so they bake in the heat, rations dwindling, bellies growling. Every dawn, Persian riders trot to the river's edge, loosing volleys of arrows into the ranks, then wheel away laughing, a taunting ritual that grates like nails on skin. Come out and fight like men, they mock, their voices carrying on the wind. Pausanias holds firm, his iron discipline a shield against panic. He forbids breaking formation, his commands a sensual authority that binds his men in place. But discipline doesn't fill empty stomachs or wet parched throats. Frustration boils into dread, a heavy cloak over the camp. Men glance at each other, eyes shadowed with doubt. Helots, the slaves dragged into this hell, suffer worst. Lightly armed, they drop like flies under arrow storms, their resentment a forbidden undercurrent bubbling beneath loyalty's surface. The air hums with tension, alliances straining like overtaut strings. Mardonius's genius shines here, not brute force, but clever cuts, exploiting every weakness. On the 11th day, he tires of the game. Cavalry bypasses the front, thundering straight for the Gargaphia spring. It's not war, it's vandalism. Horses trample the banks, churning crystal water into thick, muddy sludge, undrinkable filth. Picture it. Night falls, no food for days, lips bleed from thirst. The spring ruined, roads behind controlled by enemy riders, trapped. Panic whispers through the ranks. Captains argue, Athenians push for attack, Corinthians beg retreat. Spartans stonewall. Pausanias, the glue holding this brittle coalition, faces the abyss. One more day, and thirst or mutiny will shatter them. He must decide. As stars wheel overhead, his silhouette stands alone, the weight of Greece on his shoulders. Dread peaks, but in that darkness, a spark of resilience flickers. What choice remains when hope hangs by a thread? The night deepens, decisions loom like shadows, pulling us toward the breaking point. The real storm is coming. Stay tuned. The fates twist tighter. The moon hangs low over Mount Cytheron, a pale eye witnessing the unraveling. Pausanias gives the signal at the second watch of the night, a hushed command rippling through the ranks like a forbidden whisper. The plan is clear. Pull back silently to the island, a defensive spot near fresh water, away from the muddied spring and the Persian noose. 100,000 men pack shields and spears in the dark, hearts pounding with a mix of hope and dread. Coordination is key. Silence is their shield, but in war, plans crumble like dry earth underfoot. Chaos erupts almost at once. The center of the line, Corinthians, Megarians, and other city-state troops, doesn't withdraw. They panic. Fear grips them like a lover's clutch gone wrong. turning disciplined march into frantic sprint. They don't stop at the agreed spot. They flee all the way to Plataea town, huddling around Hera's temple like scared children seeking mother's arms. In one black hour, the Greek army loses half its strength to terror's pull. Despair whispers louder now, alliances fraying in the shadows. These men, once united by invasion's fire, now reveal their cracks, personal fears overriding universal duty. On the right wing, where Spartans hold, the trouble isn't fear, it's pride, a darker force, seductive and stubborn. Enter Amompharetos, captain of the Pitonate Locos, a Spartan unit of legend. He's a man forged in the Agogi's harsh embrace, body sculpted like a god's, will unyielding as bronze. When Pausanias' order comes, retreat tactically, he refuses flat. He stands amid his men, voice booming in the night. I will not shame Sparta by running from strangers. Strangers, his scornful word for Persians, laced with the erotic thrill of defiance, a power play against his own leader. Imagine the scene. It's deep night, stars pricking the sky like distant spears. The army strains to move quiet. Yet here, Pausanias, the regent, supreme commander, argues fiercely with his own captain, begs him even. It's not retreat, he urges, it's repositioning. Amompharetos scoffs at words, his pride a wall taller than any stockade. To a Spartan raised on Thermopylae's glory, stepping back is betrayal of self, a forbidden surrender that twists the soul. The fight turns physical, not blades, but symbols. Amompharetos hefts a massive river boulder with both hands, muscles rippling under moonlight. He slams it at Pausanias' feet with a thud that echoes like thunder. With this pebble, he roars, I cast my vote not to flee. In Spartan ways, votes use pebbles. This boulder mocks the system, a giant no to orders. Its betrayal wrapped in loyalty, heightening stakes to annihilation's edge. If Amompharetos holds, he dooms them all, isolated, exposed at dawn. Pausanias wrestles inwardly, his motivations clear in this revelation. He leads not for glory, but survival, a universal struggle against ego's dark pull. Resilience hangs by a thread, hope dimming as shouts risk alerting the enemy. The left wing, Athenians, sits confused in the dark. They wait for Spartans to move first, as planned. Nothing happens. A runner darts over, finding the Spartan camp in uproar. Commanders yelling, men frozen. The sun rises soon, the messenger warns. Are we going? Pausanias, exhausted, furious, makes the call. He leaves Amompharetos behind, orders the main Spartan force, 10,000 elites and 35,000 helots, to march south, slow and deliberate, glancing back like lovers parting. It's a gamble on pride. Will the captain crack when alone? Amompharetos watches comrades fade into night. Realization hits. He faces 300,000 Persians solo. His defiance wavers, a moment of introspection cracking the facade. Pride yields to sense. He grabs his shield, orders his men to jog and catch up. But it's too late. Gray light creeps over the mountains. Birds stir. Dawn breaks, revealing all. From the Persian camp, sentries blink awake. They stare across the Asopus. The Greek center? Gone. Athenians? Hidden by hills, miles off. Spartans? Strung out on ridges, disorganized. Amompharetos' unit trailing like a lost shadow. Mardonius steps from his tent. Dawn's glow on his purple cloak. He sees not retreat, but rout, a broken army fleeing. Laughter bubbles up. These are the Spartans who never run. He mocks to his aides. No time for plans. He points at the red cloaks. Get them. The dam bursts. Persian cavalry surges over the river, a thundering wave of hooves and dust. Behind, immortals and infantry charge, war cries shredding the air, no formation, just chaotic hunt. Pausanias hears the rumble first, a low growl turning roar. He turns, sees the horizon fill with doom. His column halts mid-march, allies distant, center fled, alone, 10,000 Spartans, 35,000 helots against an empire. Maneuvers end, battle begins, flat-footed and desperate. Sun climbs, shadows shorten. Mardonius holds back infantry for fair fight. No, he's clever. Orders archers forward, tens of thousands planting wicker shields like a flimsy wall. Then, skies darken, arrows fall like rain, a storm of death. Spartans and Tegeans, 53,000 total, strand on Citharon slopes, not in phalanx, caught marching. Cavalry flanks, arrows seek flesh. Instinct screams charge or run. Pausanias does neither. Halt, he commands. Kneel. Amid screams and arrow thuds, he turns from the enemy, calls a priest. In Greek ways, gods must approve war. A goat drags forward, throat slit, blood steaming. Pausanias checks the liver. Omens bad. Gods say no, so they wait. Picture a soldier there, crouched behind shield, arrows pounding bronze like heartbeat, screams as shafts hit necks, groins, feet. Your general studies, guts, shakes head. Despair peaks, a haunting wave. Helots suffer worst. No heavy shields, just wicker or skins. They die in heaps, slaves in a master's madness, resentment boiling into silent rage. Time stretches eternal. Another goat. Bad omens. Wait. Persians close, shouting distance, arrows pouring. Tegeans shift, ready to break. Pausanias glares, then looks to Hera's distant temple. Tears streak his face, a rare crack in Spartan stone. He prays aloud, begging not to die in shame. It's the phalanx's test. Rigid strength, but weakness too. Yet this hold keeps them tight. Charging alone means death by cavalry. Third goat. Liver good. Omens shift. Pausanias stands, spear rising. No speech needed. The line erupts, statues alive, rage uncoiling like suppressed desire. They charge, pent-up fury exploding. Wicker walls shatter under bronze crush, immortals trampled. The otismos begins, the shove. Persians grab spears barehanded, snap shafts, daggers seeking gaps. Brave, yes, Herodotus notes their lion ferocity. But physics wins, linen yields to bronze, thrusts pierce bone, spears break. Spartans draw Xiphos swords, leaf-shaped for close kill. Stab face, bash shield, step over corpse, repeat. Helots swarm gaps, javelins finishing wounded in dust-choked frenzy. Screams mix, Persian orders, Greek roars of vengeance. Mardonius towers on white horse, elite guard around, cutting Spartans down. His presence glues Persians. Spartans spot him, shift like predators, ignore gold on fallen, want the head that burned Athens. The phalanx grinds forward, bodies piling. Mardonius's circle shrinks, guards dying, flesh ramp for Spartans. Not battle, an army's assassination. Aemnestos lunges, rock or spear felling the general. Mardonius slams dirt, dead. Sound changes, Persian roar falters. Snake, headless, body writhes. Immortals break, shields down, running. Catharsis floods, despair to triumph, rage released in blood. Hope surges, resilience proven against odds. Yet horror lingers, universal truth. Victory's cost, scars deep. As Persians rout to stockade, Pausanias pauses amid carnage, breath ragged. The air stinks of death, but freedom's scent teases. What follows this peak? Slaughter's shadow looms. Hold on. The end nears, but at what price? The dust settles over Plataea's plains like a shroud, heavy with the stink of blood and broken dreams. Persians rout in terror, a leaderless flood pouring back to their massive stockade. A wooden cage they built for safety, now their tomb. Artabazus, Mardonius's cold second, watches from afar with 40,000 reserves. He could charge, flank the Spartans, turn the tide. But survival whispers sweeter. He turns his horse, orders his men north, out of Greece, abandoning brothers to fate. It's a betrayal sharp as a hidden blade, sealing doom. The remaining Persians, 260,000 souls, bar the gates, climb towers, arrows ready. They pray walls hold. Spartans arrive like wolves at the fold, red cloaks stained darker. But here's the twist. These open field killers falter at sieges, trained for phalanx clashes, not ladders or rams. Arrows rain down, frustrating the pack below. Growls rise, tension coils. Then Athenians thunder in, fresh from crushing Theban traders on the left flank. Unlike Spartans, they're builders, thinkers. They eye the wood, spot weak joints. With axes and fire they breach a section, timbers cracking like bones. The gap yawns wide. What follows isn't war, it's slaughter. Greeks pour through, unbridled fury unleashed. No mercy calls, no prisoners taken. Persians cram inside, nowhere to run. Tents, wagons, riches trapping them tighter. Spartans and allies move methodically, spears thrusting, swords hacking in close quarters. Blood slicks the ground, turning dirt to ankle-deep mud, a red slurry that sucks at boots. Screams blend into a constant wail, personal horrors in a universal hell. One Persian claws at a Spartan shield, eyes wide with despair. Another begs on knees, only to meet cold bronze. Helots, once passive victims, now revel in the kill, javelins pinning wounded like insects. It's vengeance's dark climax, Thermopylae's ghosts avenged, Athens' ashes repaid in flesh. Ancient sources claim only 3,000 Persians survive, though numbers swell in victors' tales. Archaeology whispers truth. Mass graves unearthed near Plataea, bones hacked and burned, an empire's youth erased in one afternoon. Herodotus grounds us here, his histories painting the scene with eyewitness grit. No glory, just grim efficiency. Plutarch echoes in Lives, noting Spartan customs forbade retreat, but allowed this rage, a release of pent-up resilience against overwhelming odds. Silence falls at last, eerie and profound. Dust clears on the greatest graveyard Greece has seen. Spartans wipe blades, breaths ragged. Then eyes widen. This camp isn't barracks, it's a palace on wheels. Mardonius claimed Xerxes' tent, a silk-draped wonder, gold bowls gleaming, silver tables etched with Persian motifs, tapestries of purple dye worth kingdoms, chests spilling darics, coins that tempt like forbidden fruit. For Spartans, whose money is iron bars to shun greed, it's a fever dream. Helots gape, fingers itching. Athenians calculate shares. Pausanias enters the pavilion, grime-caked but commanding. He spots cowering Persian chefs, spares them with a bizarre order. Cook as you did for Mardonius. They obey, roasting exotic meats, baking soft breads, pouring sweet wines on silver platters. Saffron scents the air, fat sizzles, a feast fit for gods. Then Pausanias calls his own cooks, makes Spartan mess. They boil lentils, pork blood, vinegar into black broth, a sludge so foul, legends joke it explains Spartans' fearlessness in death. He sets meals side by side, Persian luxury, a sensual array of colors and aromas. Spartan slop, brown and basic. Commanders enter. Pausanias points, laughter bitter. See the Mede's folly. He had all this, yet came to steal our nothing. Irony bites deep, East's soft opulence versus West's hard poverty. It's propaganda gold, defining identities for centuries. Freedom's grit over empire's excess. Yet in this moment, something shifts in Pausanias. He mocks, but eyes linger on gold, a revelation cracking his core. Victory's poison seeps in, greed's allure, a dark motivation blooming. Herodotus notes this seed, warning how power corrupts even heroes. Across the Aegean, as if gods sink fates, Greeks assault Mycale on Asia Minor's coast. They burn Persian ships, slaughter garrisons, a double blow ending the wars. Xerxes loses army and navy, Europe breathes free, hope triumphs, resilience proven, but victory fractures like brittle bronze. The Sparta-Athens bond, A wolf and shark's uneasy hunt. Prey dead, suspicion creeps. Athens returns not as victims, but lords. They rebuild walls taller, forge a fleet unmatched, birth the Delian League, an empire veiled as alliance. Islands pay tribute, gold funding, marble wonders. Freedom fought at Plataea, monetized, twisted into dominance. It's a cycle. Oppressed become oppressors, a universal echo in human tales. Darkest shadow falls on Pausanias, Plataea's hero. That feast? He didn't hate the luxury, he craved it, a forbidden desire consuming him. Back home, changes whisper, travelers report. Abroad on campaigns, he sheds red cloak for Persian purple robes, flowing like silk caresses. He shuns black broth for banquets, flavors exploding on tongue. Worse, he hires Egyptian and Persian guards, a private force barring fellow Greeks. It's unimaginable. Leonidas' avenger, cosplaying the foe. Rumors swirl like smoke. Letters to Xerxes, offering Greece for the king's daughter in marriage. Traitor? Savior turned villain. Spartans recall him, try him. Acquitted, royal blood, thin proof. But he persists, stirring helots with freedom promises, the same slaves he led at Plataea. To Spartans, this is unforgivable. Arming the oppressed shatters their slave-based society, a legal taboo in Xenophon's accounts. Ephors set a trap. Hide a servant behind a screen during treason talks. Proof secured. Pausanias, world's famed general, now hunted in his city. Not by arrows, but egos fall, victory's irreversible change. He flees through Sparta's streets, heart pounding, to Athena's temple. Claims sanctuary. Ancient laws bar killing in holy ground, lest gods rage. Ephors halt at doors. Can't drag him out. Solution? Spartan cruel. Brick up entrances. No food, no water. He starves inside. Heart-wrenching detail. His mother approaches the crowd. No tears, no pleas. She lifts a heavy stone, places it on the threshold, first brick in his prison. Walks away. Rejection absolute. Sparta over sun, honor over blood. Its ambivalence is peak. Sorrow for fallen hero, empowerment injustice's grip. Days blur in darkness. Pausanias weakens, breath shallow, incense his only company. Just before death, they drag his emaciated form out to avoid polluting the temple. He dies in sunlight, traitor disgraced. Herodotus and Thucydides analyze power's cycle, how triumph breeds downfall, echoing enduring customs like Spartan ephors' oversight. We forget Plataea for its mess, war crimes, greed, heroes fall. Thermopylae shines clean, pure defeat, uncorrupted martyrs. But Plataea saved the West, free men breaking superpower in savage need. Reflect, victories scar as deep as losses, cycles repeat in today's worlds. Leaders rise on valor, fall to temptation's embrace. As shadows lengthen over Sparta's hills, Pausanias' ghost lingers, a warning. Hope fades into sorrow's ambivalence. What legacies endure when resilience meets corruption? The story closes, but echoes remain. Thank you for journeying through blood and bronze. Until next tale, reflect on the price of freedom.